What's going on, traders? Today I'm talking about FundedNext, a newer prop firm in the futures market space, but not so new in the market. And over the last couple weeks, I've put it to the test. I've gone through their evaluations, I've passed them, I've gone to payout stage, I've taken money out, and I've got paid. And they're now on my recommended list. In fact, they've jumped straight up to a top 5 prop firm because I think going into 2026, this might be the best prop firm for scaling size and taking big payouts from. And today, I'm going to show you exactly why, so don't go anywhere. Loading up FundedNext.com then, and the website will load on your browser like this. If you didn't already know, FundedNext is a very big CFD and FX prop firm. So on the top browser, you will want to click Futures. Right, and that will take you over to the futures side of the FundedNext business. And it's from here that you can see everything that they offer. So it's very clear with FundedNext. You are always going to pay a one-time fee, no matter the account, up to 1 million funded. You will always get paid in 24 hours guaranteed. Otherwise, they will pay you a bonus. And you are allowed to trade on any news. All right, so you can hold through red letter news, catching those big moves, even with your funded or live accounts. If we move down, you can see currently they have 282,000 FundedNext accounts. Of those, they have rewarded 74,000 traders, totaling over $214 million in payouts. Pretty good for a new firm in the future space. And as we scroll down, we can see the key highlights that we talked about. There's no activation fee. There's no time limit. You can get paid out in as quick as 3 days. All right, the quickest account here, you can pass and then be paid 3 days later. You can trade news, you can reset accounts, and there are diverse transaction methods, including your credit cards, debit cards, PayPal, wires, and even crypto. So what I really want to get into, though, is the different types of accounts. When you trade with FundedNext, you have 2 different types of accounts to choose from. You have the Rapid Challenge and the Legacy Challenge. And I'm going to go through both of those today because they both have different rules within the evaluation stage and within the funded stage. So let's start off with the Rapid Challenge. Now I'm going to focus on the 50K account because that is the most popular account across any prop firm that most of you will choose. Now currently that's priced just under $150. If you use my code FZT, you will get an added bonus amount off, even on top of any sale that they have. And there is a sale coming out very shortly, probably in time for me to launch this video. So let's go over the rules then. Your profit target for the 50K eval, very simple and very common, $3,000. That's what you've got to make on a 50K in the Rapid Challenge. Your max loss limit is $2,000, but it is end of day. No trailing here, end of day balance. There is no daily loss limit on this. There is no activation fee. You have no benchmark days, so you can pass this all in one day. All right, you can get it done straight away and get funded. There is a one-time fee for it. In the challenge account, you can use 3 minis or 15 micros for the 50K account. And when you progress into the funded account, you can use 5 minis or 25 micros. Plenty there. Now, once you have passed in the funded stage, you do have a consistency rule. This is not for the evaluation, okay? The evaluation, if you want to pass it in one day or in one trade, you can. But in the funded stage, you do have a consistency rule, which I think is pretty fair. It's 40%. What does that mean? The fastest you can get paid out is in 3 days. And you can see that right down here, all right? Rewards in 3 days. And the key part here that you are going to absolutely love is there is no buffer required, which means you can pull all your money out in one go after 3 days, as long as you've fit the requirements. Now, you can have backups with FundedNext. As you can see here, you can have $700,000 in challenges. So you could have 7 of these 100K accounts if you wanted running at the same time, trying to pass the evals. But you can only have 3 of these 100K or 6 of the 50Ks live as funded accounts at any one time. All right, because you can only have $300,000 in the funded. Let's have a look, though, at the rules for getting payouts on the Rapid Challenge, and then we're going to move on to the Legacy. So here we come into the Rapid Challenge. Now, it's really simple. There's really not a lot to go through, which you guys should absolutely love. Now, after passing the Rapid Challenge, traders must meet the following criteria in their FundedNext account to be eligible for performance rewards. Minimum profit per cycle. Traders must meet a minimum profit amount for each cycle independently. $250 for a 25K and 50K, and $500 for a $100,000 account. All you've got to make is $250 over 3 days. And if you wanted to draw that out, you could. And that is with a 40% consistency. That's it. It is as simple as that, folks. So anything over $250, you are keeping for yourself. So really, really, really easy. Super easy. And it's great for you guys who want to get paid quick. If you want to pass in 1 day, trade for 3 days, hit that target, take your money out. Bob's your uncle, as we would say in the UK, and you've made your money and you are out of there. Now, all these accounts do have reward caps on them. So let's first look, as we're on the Rapid account, let's stick with this Rapid account. So like we talked about, you have that 40% consistency rule. Your first withdrawal requires you to make at least $250 for a 25K or 50K account, or $500 for a 100K account, and subsequent withdrawals have the same minimum amount apply. So you've always got to make at least that much per cycle, and the minimum amount that you can withdraw is $250 for a 25K or 50K account, or $500 for a 100K account. But the key thing here is the withdrawal per cycle. Remember, per cycle is every 3 days. That's the fastest you can do it. So on a 25K account, you can withdraw $800. In a 50K account, it is $1,500. And in a $100,000 account, you can withdraw $2,500 every payout cycle. The cap, however, is removed after the 5th payout, which means, technically speaking, if you were able to hit a payout every 3 days, after 15 days, you would be eligible to pull 100% of those profits out. So it is actually impressively quick for pulling that money out. Although I think to do that process will be quite tricky, and you wouldn't want to rush it necessarily that fast. And the payouts in between, I guess they're not too bad, really. $1,500 every 3 days is pretty good, isn't it? We shouldn't be complaining about that, given the cost price. But the key thing here for me, and the key difference, is this up here. It's the 40% consistency. Moving on, though, to the legacy account. Now, these are my personal preference. I like trading the legacy accounts because I like building and scaling, and you're going to see what I mean very, very shortly. Now, these are slightly more expensive. Again, I'm going to focus on the 150K. You can see very, very slightly more expensive, maybe an extra $10. Again, if you use code FZT, it is going to get you the best possible sale always. And the links for everything here, I'm going to pop in the description. So similar to the Rapid accounts, but you can see, I would argue, easier to pass because you've got a 1-to-1 ratio for the profit target to maximum loss limit here. Again, it's end of day, no trailing drawdown, but this time you only need to make $2,500, and you can risk $2,500. So a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, I already really like that. Again, there's no daily loss limit. There is no activation fee. It is just a one-time fee. And in terms of the amount of contracts you can use, it's actually better than the Rapids, because you can see here, there is a 10-to-1 exchange rate, as you would normally have. So you can play with 3 minis or 30 micros in the challenge, or you can play in the funded account with 5 minis or 50 micros. So again, for me, this has edge over the Rapid. The big difference here is the consistency rule. This only applies in the challenge. So with the legacy accounts, you cannot pass these in 1 day. These are going to take you 3 days or more to pass, but that consistency rule does not exist when you move into the funded stage, which means if you have an outlier day where you've made 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, it doesn't matter how much you've made, it's not going to affect anything. That is going to be money that you're going to be able to pull out of the market as long as you stick to their rules for payouts. And we're going to get into that now for the legacies. So these are the rules for the legacy. Minimum 5 benchmark days, all right? So that's different to the Rapids. We're going to need 5 benchmark days when we're trading in the legacy accounts. And that's going to depend on the size account you have. So if you're trading a 50K or 100K, which I'd imagine most of you would, you're going to be needing to make at least $200 for 5 days. That doesn't need to be 5 days in a row. It just means 5 of your days need to be at $200 profit or more. After that, you can see here, consistency requirement. There is no consistency rule to be maintained in legacy funded accounts, right? That has gone. It's been removed. So you can think of this account just like when you have a TPT account past the buffer, or when you're trading with Topstep or any of these other firms, when you're really able to scale and go for it. This is that account. This is why I love the legacy account. Yes, it takes 3 days longer to pass, but the rewards for it are much, much better because now you can start scaling up and really building your account size. So let's look at getting you paid on a legacy account then. So the difference here is you will need some benchmark days. You're going to need 5 benchmark days before your first withdrawal. So you're going to need, on a 50K account, at least 5 days of $200 or more. Pretty standard, nothing big there. As we've talked about before, the reason I like these, there's no consistency rule, which means if you have a big win, that's absolutely fine. It's not going to affect anything at all. You are going to have to make at least $500 per payout cycle because the minimum amount you can withdraw is $250. Now, after 30 days, you're going to be able to take out 100% of the profits that you've made within that 30-day period. But before those first 30 days, you can withdraw up to 50% of the profit in your account. However, it is capped and the figures are here. So for a $25,000 account, you are capped at $3,000 per profit cycle. At a $50,000 account, you are capped at $6,000 per profit cycle, and at a $100,000 account, you are again capped at $6,000 per profit cycle, which is why I recommend trading at the 50K account. It is the easiest one to pass, and it has the same maximum amount you can pull out as the 100K. So it's about half the price, and you can still pull out $6,000 potentially every 5 days. And then at day 30, when you've had 30 benchmark days, you are then able to pull out 100% of the profits, again, at an 80% split. So you keep 80% and FundedNext will keep 20%. Now, to make this really, really easy for you, I've put it into a table. All right, so let's assume you are trading a 50K account. You are now past the eval and you are into your sim funded account. And let's assume that you've now achieved the first cycle, which means you've had 5 green days of $250 or more. And in this example, I've assumed that you've made $12,000. Okay, so you can pull out 50% of that, which will be your maximum payout of $6,000, which will give you a profit of $4,800 because you get to keep 80% of this, and that is paid to you within 1 hour of putting in that request, and that is a guarantee. On day 10, let's now assume that you've made more money and you're up to $20,000. Now, the maximum you can pull out is 50%, but remember, you're capped at $6,000. So you can't pull out $10,000, but you can pull out $6,000 again, giving you another $4,800. On day 15, you're now up to $25,000. You can see how I'm showing you here about scaling it. Again, the maximum you can pull out is $6,000. You don't get to pull out the full 50% because you're well past the $12,000. All right, $6,000, half of $12,000. We're now well past that on our buffer. So we pull out $4,800 of that, the 80% of 6K again. Day 25, the same thing. But on day 30, and it doesn't take you that long to get to day 30, you now have $100,000 in your account, and you now pay yourself within 1 hour, keeping $80,000 of that. All right, so 5 times you've pulled out $4,800 and then paid yourself $80K. And remember, you can have $300,000 in funding, which means you could do this on 6 accounts linked together. That is an insane amount of money with an incredible return on investment for the price of these accounts. Let's just remind ourselves what these are currently costing. Currently, these are just $159, and when you use my code, they are even cheaper. So we're going to go through that now. So if we were to buy these today, and I'm pretty sure by the time I put this video out, there's going to be a sale on these, but if we put my code in here, FZT, you will get an extra chunk of change off, which means $143 right now to get funded on these 50K accounts. And in case I didn't mention it earlier, that is not a rolling fee every month. That is a one-time fee. If this takes you 2 years to pass for whatever reason, so be it. All right, this is not going to be a rolling fee from month to month to month to month. It's a one-time fee, which means you can afford to take your time with these legacy challenges, because I absolutely guarantee you it is going to be worth you taking your time and building these out. Because if you get 6 of these accounts and get them to the 30 days, you are going to be very, very happy with yourselves that you've taken your time instead of rushing it, because the payout and return on investment is absolutely massive. And as you know, on this channel, I never like to partner with a firm until I know they're legit, which means I need to get paid for them to make sure they pay out. And FundedNext definitely pay out. Okay, on my first attempt at passing a VE val, I actually passed a 100K account. It was the first one that I tried. And then a couple of weeks ago, I got up to payment and withdrew that money out. That money went via Rise. So on the 18th of November, I took a payment of $2,500, and Rise has now paid me that money, and it is sitting comfortably in my account. And guess what? I'm about to take another payout. So I cannot recommend FundedNext enough. They've gone straight into a top 5, if not a top 3 firm for me. And I'm going to really, really enjoy scaling with them going into next year. So hopefully this video has helped. But if you're still sat here thinking, which account is right for me, maybe this little summary will help you out. If you're a newer trader and you're yet to get paid, I think the Rapid account is probably the easiest account to get paid from any account out there, from any prop firm. And I say that completely impartially. It's not the account I would personally go for, but if you have not been paid before, I think trading for 3 days and only having to make $500 at a 40% consistency rate with no benchmark days is just about as easy as it gets. So I would highly recommend that. If, however, you are building discipline, if you're the trader who's looking to build out a big payout in 2025 into 2026, then for sure the legacy account is for you. Yes, it takes a little bit longer, but for $150, knowing that 30 days down the road, there is a big old payout coming your way, it is without a doubt worth it. And it goes without saying that this firm works with Tradeovate Prop and NinjaTrader Prop, the only people that I will work with in the prop firm space. If they don't work with Tradeovate or NinjaTrader, keep them at arm's length. And make sure you're always looking out for their sale. I know FundedNext are about to launch a massive sale, and you'll get an even bigger discount using my link, FZT. And of course, that does help me out and all the free content that I'm able to produce for you, like the live streams that I do Monday to Friday. I hope to see you there real soon. All the links are down below. Take care, and don't forget, use hard stops.